published 0621 est, the 5th of January the 2018, updated 0746 est, the 5th of January the 2018. It is a sainted day in the English football calendar. No matter how much money is poured into the Premier League, or how top-heavy the modern structure has become, this is as close as it gets to a level playing field. The FA Cup third round is upon us, and this year the draw has thrown up some potential classics: a Merseyside derby, Brighton versus Crystal Palace, and of course, plenty of lower league versus top division clashes. Here, Sportsmail looks at all 17 of the ties pitting Premier League clubs against sides outside the top tier, and rates their shock potential. Arsenal won the FA Cup last season, but will they make it through round 3 this time? With Jose Mourinho feeling the pressure at Old Trafford, high-flying Derby would seem to have picked the perfect time to visit. However, the United boss values the Cups, is still smarting from one embarrassing exit to Bristol City in the Carabao Cup, and the Red Devils rarely slip up against smaller clubs. Shock rating 25. With Jose Mourinho under pressure, Derby have picked the perfect time to visit Old Trafford. Although a return to the Highbury Stadium for Jamie Vardy is up in the air due to injury, this remains a huge game for League One Fleetwood. Nevertheless, Leicester should triumph. Claude Puel took Southampton to Wembley last season, and the Foxes are safe from the relegation scrap. Shock rating 25. League One Fleetwood Town host Premier League Leicester City in Saturday's early kick-off. After a dreadful start to the season, they got 2 points from their first 11 games. Bolton are slowly recovering, and come into this on good form with 3 wins in the last 4. Huddersfield face the unusual scenario of being the big boys here, and it all depends on how they deal with that pressure. Shock rating 35. After a dreadful start to the season, Bolton are recovering, and face Huddersfield in good form. Although Premier League at home to League One doesn't scream upset, this puts together a cherry side facing a relegation fight, and the Latics, top of their table and with recent FA Cup pedigree. Eddie Howe picked a weaker side last year, and they were beaten at Millwall. One to keep an eye on. Shock rating 35. League One leaders and recent FA Cup winners Wigan visit Bournemouth in a potential shock. If any fans could sum up the phrase long-suffering, it would be Coventry supporters. But not only are they in the League Two promotion mix, they also have a prime shock opportunity against a Stoke side far more preoccupied with a relegation fight. The Ricoh Arena may even buy hayful for this one. Shock rating 45. Coventry host Stoke, who are in dreadful form and face a fight for Premier League survival. It is astonishing how quickly West Brom have gone from the model of mid-table consistency to 20 games without a win. Alan Pardew needs to stop the rot, and will eye the FA Cup, having guided Palace to the 2016 final, as a chance to do so. Paul Tisdale's Grecians will not roll over, however. Shock rating 25. Alan Pardew has a good record in the FA Cup, twice reaching the final as a manager, as proved by their win over Ipswich in midweek, trailing 10 after an hour, having spurned a hatful of chances, only to then score 4 in 7 minutes. Fulham often frustrate, but when they get it right they can be thrilling. Southampton under Mauricio Pellegrino are not thrilling. And as former manager Puel learned last season, a cup run is no guarantee of job security. Shock rating 35. Fulham, with teenage star Ryan Sessegnon, have the potential to thrill against Southampton. Premier League host League Two home banker no way. Newcastle are a mess, unimpressive squad, uncertain future, unhappy manager and fans. Luton meanwhile are steaming towards promotion with 76 goals this season in all competitions. Only Man City have more. The shock is on. Shock rating 45. Luton are in League Two, but their free-scoring form makes them a banana skin for Newcastle. Hornets may be suffering a dreadful slump, but they should see this one through. City are off the boil themselves. They have won 1 in 4 since shocking Man United and were stuffed 50 by Aston Villa on New Year's Day. Manager Lee Johnson privately will not fancy another distraction. Shock rating 15. Watford should see off Championship Bristol City, who have lost form since beating Man U. Would this be more of a shock if Wolves didn't win top of the Championship by 12 points? They will see this as a good marker for next season, against the top-flight's bottom club. Swansea have been revitalised a little under new manager Carlos Carvalhal, but they are facing an early cup exit. Shock rating 55. Top of the Championship, Wolves host bottom of the Premier League Swansea on Saturday. The Canaries hope that they had appointed David Wagner MK2 when they named Daniel Farke as manager has so far proved wide of the mark, as they sit mid-table in the Championship. Carrow Road will be a buzz for an evening kick-off against the top-tier champions, but even a second-string Blues side will probably have too much. Shock rating 25. Norwich manager Daniel Farke is hoping to mastermind an upset against champions Chelsea. Relegation favourites at the start of the season, Paul Hurst Shrews are 5 points clear in the League One automatic promotion spots. David Moyes has added steel to his Hammers side, however, and will not fancy a repeat of the 2003 humiliation at Gay Meadow when his Everton side were embarrassed. 21. Shock rating 35. David Moyes has already suffered one giant killing by Shrewsbury in his managerial career. The FA Cup goes to Wembley even earlier this year as Spurs host the League One strugglers. It's the first time the Wimbledon name will be displayed at Wembley in the FA Cup since their famous 1988 final triumph. This is likely to be less historic, however. Even with just a 3-day turnaround from the West Ham draw, Tottenham should be far too strong. Shock rating 15. AFC Wimbledon faced an uphill task to beat Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley on Sunday. Forest are managerless, having sacked Mark Warburton when their hoped-for playoff push failed to materialise. Caretaker boss Gary Brazil may be handed the full-time gig if he can mastermind an upset against the holder. Arsene Wenger has never lost to lower league opposition in the third round, however, and it is hard to see that happening here. Shock rating 25. Arsene Wenger's brilliant FA Cup record means Arsenal should see off Nottingham Forest.